Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So we got a lot of stuff going on as usual. We have the top Mormon leader that was died at 101 years old yesterday on my birthday, September 27th. And then we've had a Mormon church in Michigan. It's a Grand White something church, which, as you know, the Mormon churches are, these grand white buildings. So it's in a Grand White, not Grand Isle, but Grand White or something, Grand Blanc, Michigan. So Big White, right? So Big White, and I guess that's the Mormon churches. And so a Mormon church, basically, they're looking at it looks like a veteran. Of course, they're going to try to make the veterans look bad because the veterans are going to basically save America coming up. So there's a lot of really strange stuff going on. So you have the Charlie Kirk shooting in Utah, and there seems to be some similarities between dates of all kind of crazy stuff that goes on. On September 27th is also when the Jesuits, my birthday, so I didn't make that happen, but because it happened back in 1540 or something crazy, 1520, 1540, somewhere around there. The Jesuits were recognized by the Catholic Pope as a unit, like a military arm of the Catholic Church. So, but they claim that they're not militant, that they're educational. All right. So anyway, yesterday, the leader of the Mormon church in Utah, where Charlie Kirk was shot, he died. So today, there was this military guy. And the reason why they think he's a military guy, because he had, and it could have been anyone that just got the car, but looks like there was like a sticker on the car, military or Iraqi veteran, and he drove it into the church. Then he got out and started shooting people. Evidently, that caused a fire somehow, and the church burned. So, as of now, there's 2 people that are dead and several that are wounded. And I say as of now because now that they put the fire out, they're going to sweep through and see if there's any more victims in there. So, it's very understanding. All of the different things that are related. Now, Patel, we're going to go in. I talked about the shooting that happened in Utah with Charlie Kirk. Patel has come out and kind of alluded to the possibility of conspiracy type stuff. Investigating theories and questions is the way he terms it. So we're meticulously investigating theories and questions, including the location from where the shot was taken, the possibility of accomplices, the text message confession and related conversations, Discord chats, the angle of the shot and bullet impact, how the weapon was transported, hand gestures observed as potential signals near Charlie at the time of his assassination, and visitors to the alleged shooter's residence in the hours and days leading up to September 10th, 2025. All right. So September 10th seems like so long ago now. So much has happened. So much is happening. And that's kind of the way our world is right now. It's moving at warp speed. And, we're going to continue to see a lot more stuff. Now, other things that are out there, the FBI responded on Saturday to a report that 274 plainclothes agents were at the U.S. Capitol riot on January 6th. So the reason why I bring that into this conversation is like, can we really trust the FBI? Right? I say absolutely not. Now, Patel, I think he's a good guy, but I think the organization and the people within the organization of FBI are pretty much it needs to be completely revamped. It needs to be completely taken down. 274 plainclothes agents. So we're probably going to find out that they were smashing windows, which I've seen a video of a guy that was smashing windows, and then a patriot came up to him. He had a flag, and he said, "Stop!" And this guy came up and started pushing him, like, "How dare you?" Because he was like videoing him. So I'd like to see if that was one of those FBI plainclothes agents, right? And we have heard from other reports that some of these agents were instigating, trying to start the riots, because we know that's part of what the FBI does. Instead of investigating criminals and so forth, they try and instigate people to do criminal activity. We've seen that over the last several years. It's insane what is going on at the FBI. And then you have the two leaders of the FBI, James Comey, who's now been indicted. I think Christopher Wray is probably going to be indicted because he lied about FBI agents being at the Capitol, right, during J6. So that boy is going to have to go behind bars or something else, along with his buddy James Comey. Now, a lot of us were like questioning how that guy could have stayed in office as long as he did. But we're going to find that when someone has dirt on them, and you can trace and track all their other stuff and trace and track him to other people, which I believe is what they were doing, and gathering more information on them. That's why I think they'll let Wray stay there. So Trump accuses Wray of lying about agency actions on January 6, days after Comey indicted. So will we see Christopher Wray indicted? I believe we will. I always thought we would. So, yes, the somebody's asking about the shooting, mass shooting in Southport, North Carolina. Guys, we're in the zone now. We're in the shit hitting the fan. We've talked about this. Now, is that going to be related to any of this? I think we're just going to start to see people getting shot all over the place. Mass shootings. Now, at some point, this would be very, very bad, is if we see like some of these knuckleheads, because in Michigan and a lot of other places, you got a lot of Muslim extremists that come in, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing people with explosive vests start clacking themselves off in public. So you really, really need to be heads up about all that. So, yeah, mass shooting is going to start to happen everywhere, guys. All right, so this is what the police say right now about that shooting. Let's listen in.
Within the past hour. So where we go from here is we have investigators. We're going to do search warrants on the suspect's residence. We're going to find out if there was a motive. We're going to go through cell phone records, things like that. We had the FBI, they're devoting 100 agents to this area.
Oh, that's friggin' good. The FBI, the most corrupt organization in the world. Well, maybe there's some other ones out there, but 100 FBI agents. I mean, after we just saw what happened in J6 guys, we should never trust the FBI with anything at this point. All right. The FBI needs to go away. Right. So yesterday, I was at a Lewis Herms event. Lewis Herms for governor of California. It was a great event. Great people there. Talked to a bunch of people. I'll talk about some of that right now. So it was in Yuba City, very nice area. And I was one of the speakers, Pastor Dave Bryan. It was at his church. Now, the reason why I want to bring this up specifically along the lines of this Jesus Christ Church of Latter-day Saints, Mormon church, is because this church, when I drove on the property, because, I have a feel for things, I was like, wow, this is beautiful. This is like a breath of fresh air. And going into the building where we had the the meeting, the event, it was absolutely fantastic. Now they had security guys there. I felt secure because I've done a lot of security, as a Navy SEAL, as a CIA, and then as security in casinos. So I've done a lot of security, and these were really good guys. Now, I talk about that because you're going to have every church out there with security right now, right? Especially in Christian churches, because the Muslims here are going to start to rampage, and they've already said they're going to against Christian churches, right? I've seen this all over the Middle East. Christian churches have been devastated all over the Middle East. If there's any left, they have like super intense security, massive gates around them. And geez, the people that go in and out of them. I mean, even in Israel, Christian churches. I mean, I've seen like some of the far right, the Jewish guys have the braids and stuff in the back and the little Hanukkah hats, whatever. I've seen those guys walking by where nuns are standing outside a Christian church area, and they spit on the ground. In the Gaza area, there have been lots of Christian churches in there, and the Israeli military have been blowing them up. Right. So it's not just Muslims. It's, I don't know, is this just everybody gang up against Christians now? Like, what the heck? And I mean, I've been a Christian all my life. I've never been, warmongering at all. Everywhere I've been, everywhere I've seen Christian churches, go out of their way to help other people. So I don't know what's going on with all that. We need to get to the bottom of that. But it's just like, you're going to have, and we don't need to do an investigation about this. It's pretty cut and dry right now. You're going to need people with guns in Christian churches. All right. Period. And ideally, they're dedicated to that, and they have a presence so people know they're there, and they won't target those churches because there's badasses, there's alpha males in there that are ready to run to the fight. All right. If you don't have that, you're sitting duck. You're sitting duck in a church now, guys. I don't care what church it is. So it is pretty sad indeed. All right. So yeah. Now, there are many things that we're talking about. One of the major things that Lewis is running on is child trafficking. Nobody else is doing child trafficking. And as we know, America is the number one child trafficking area in the world, and California is really up there. The Democrats have made it almost legal to do pedophilia, right? They have tried to pass bills. They've been stopped out. If they get more of a majority, we're at the point now, guys, if we get another Democrat in California, California will die. Absolutely. Now, Lewis is an independent. He is not a Republican, which I've seen Republicans run in Utah that should have been governor. I've seen Republicans that ran in California for Congress that should have made it. And they got backstabbed by the GOP. They took funding away from them, even though they were the top guys. And it's a shit show in these two political parties, guys. They need to go away. We've talked about that. So an independent run, like a Jesse Ventura, Navy SEAL, went all the way top. You had Donald Trump. Of course, he had to go with some political party. So he was pretty much, you could say, he was a Democrat his whole life. And then he went Republican and became president. First time. Same thing with Jesse Ventura. So it is not outside of the realm of possibilities that Lewis Herms could, become Governor of California. He's going to need security, right? He's going to need a lot of security. So now Lewis Herms wants to do away with property taxes, wants to do away with income taxes, wants to like reduce the gas taxes massively. And I could stop there. Everybody's like, what? Vote his ass in right now. Now they've done studies, and Democrats are not so much. They don't like their party anymore. Most of them. Independents, they don't like either party, but they, of course, would vote for an independent. So you have like 20% independents. You have like 24, 5, whatever it is, Republicans, which is crazy because when you look at California, it looks like one big red state with little splotches of blue. It's crazy. It could easily go to Lewis Herms, guys, very easily. So he's got some very interesting people that are about to come out and promote him and back him. Now, when they did money run donations, he had the most donations of any candidate, but you have donors in both those other parties that are massive donors. All right. So they way out, got money from, their donors than he did, but he had more donors. So it's like we the people, and that's his campaign. His campaign is we the people. He's not about any political party, and he's running to basically stand for we the people. Now, he had a guy that came in there. They tried to arrest the guy several times. He was part of a school board stuff. He talked about all the school boards and how they do bonds for school boards, supposedly to, for student education, desk chairs, whiteboards, whatever. And a lot of that money, and we're talking he was just talking about the one county that he was in. They did $100 million bond. And they were like, they only needed half of that, he said. And not even that, really. So he went in, he exposed a lot of stuff. The guy that's in charge supposedly has all these degrees. He has no degrees at all. All right. And to be in the position he's in, he's got to have a degree. And he doesn't have degrees, but he's been in the position for like well over a decade. So he's exposing all this stuff. And then he exposes all the money that doesn't go to the schools. Because I've had people on that talk about mortgage fraud and all this stuff. So now we're talking who funds these school bonds, guys? The people do. We, the people, fund them through our when you pay your not mortgage, but your property tax. It's all property tax. That's why our property tax, and he talked about this is in every county and every state. That's why we have property taxes, so they can fund this illegal activity of doing the bonds for the schools. And I've heard this exposed through a lot of people, but he has everything documented. They can expose this in this county, and it could flood to every precedence, and it could flood to every state. Property taxes will go away. All right. So this is the kind of stuff that we're going to see. The legal system, the corrupt legal system, the school boards and so forth. The mama bears. How are we at where we are right now, guys? We wouldn't even see President Trump in the White House right now if it wasn't for the women standing up to the school boards. All right. And then eventually the, fat ass on the couch men got their butts up and stopped watching whatever program, football or whatever, and then started getting involved. So 70% they've done. Lewis did the test. He's got all the stats. He's really good on those. 70% of the women during COVID, it was 70% women that stood up against the COVID lie. So us men, we got to get the alpha males going, guys. And we've talked about this for quite some time. So yeah, very, very interesting stuff. It's going to be, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that female genitalia power. Yeah, I'm not going to say that out loud here. I'll get in trouble. But yes, that's that's awesome. All right, you guys can probably figure out what that P word is. All right, so let's look at some other stuff here. I mean, that how the heck did one car crashing into this building start a fire? Now he must have had some kind of propellant, fire propellant in his car, and somehow it got lit off. That whole building's burned down. That's crazy. And then he came in and shot a bunch of people up. And like I said, as we know right now, 2 were dead and several injured. And I don't know if how critical it is or what, but that's pretty amazing. Shooting fire at Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc. Big White, right? Big White, Mormon churches. And then, of course, yesterday we had the Big White Poobah died. And now they're saying they're investigating whether there's a connection. Is there a connection with Charlie Kirk? So, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. So Russell M. Nelson died at his home in Salt Lake City on Saturday, September 27th, at the age of 101. Now, there's all kinds of gematria numbers in this stuff, guys. All right. So I'm going to get Zachary. What's Zachary's last name? Anyway, let's get the expert in here. Sorry, Zach, I forgot your last name. There we go.
Again, Grand Blanc, where it happened, means great white, and the Mormon church is highly associated with the color white. This is very close to
Zachary Hubbard. Sorry, Zachary Hubbard. So he's the expert in gematria stuff. What I want to know about is there some kind of connections going on, because I feel it intuitively. I go to Zach. Zach gives me the insights, and I was like, okay, I'm on track. And so I'm on track that there is connection with all this stuff, guys. I don't know where it leads, what it means, or anything else, but there's connection with all of this, unfortunately.
Michigan, which is a big Michigan shooting story that carried on for some time. And remember, what was different about that Oxford story was it carried into the parents, and the parents ended up getting punished for the son who was the school shooter. But yeah, from Joseph Smith's death anniversary to this shooting, 93 days on a Sunday, when they say the sun is 93 million miles away. And don't forget, science back in 2012 said they figured out that Jesus' crucifixion date was April 3rd, 33 AD, which is the 93rd day of the year where crucifix gone.
So you start to see all of these numbers on this specific day. The earth is 93 million miles away from the sun. The crucifix, when you break that down, it's 93 is a number. God's son is 93. Nazareth is 93. So there's all these connections. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So you start to look into all of the different things that connect it, because, if God's involved, these numbers pop. But if the black hats are involved, they manipulate. So they act like God, and they decide when these days happen, where these events happen, so that they can get the God numbers for themselves and say, look, we're like God. It happened on this day. But I'm like, but you decided it was going to happen on that day. So it's not natural. But they don't want to hear that, I guess. So they like to play God, but they're nothing like God. They're animals. They're animals.
Nazareth equal 93. What else I could have put up there is the word triclavianism equals 93. And if you don't know what that is, that's the way, hold on, this is a hard word to spell when you haven't slept. Triclavianism. Remember these numbers. We'll come back to all of them, but that's the Roman form of capital punishment with the 3 big nails, the 9-inch nails. That's what the band's named after, Trent Reznor's band. But notice how it's also 93. Jesus was crucified with this method, triclavianism, which again factors in with the distance from the earth to the sun on average, 93 million miles, at least so we're told. And you see the 150 million kilometers as well. Notice triclavianism is also 150. With regards to the Jesuits, remember the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt founded the Illuminati, which equals 150. An order of Illuminati is 201 and 93. Look at heliocentrism, the model that says the sun's at the center of it all, which was agreed to in the 16th century, the century the Jesuits were created. 150, again, the distance, 150 million kilometers on average, or 201. The Jesuit order is also 201. Order of Illuminati, 201. The founder of the Illuminati, the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, died 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. So how this all fits together. And I noticed that if you drive from where Joseph Smith was killed, Carthage, to Grand Blanc, it says you take I-80 to I-94. And here we are with this mass shooting on the day, leaving 94 days left in the year. Roman Catholic Church, 94. Another name for the sun, Helios, 94. Thus the root word of heliocentrism. We're on a Sunday. Planet. And if for people don't know, the classical planets are what the 7 days of the week are named after. So the sun, the moon, they're both considered planets. Sunday, Moon Day, Monday. Tuesday's Mars Day. Wednesday's Mercury Day. Thursday is Jupiter Day. Friday is Venus Day. Saturn's Day is Saturday. Keep the Sabbath, Saturn holy. Only the Old Testament people are doing that because the Catholic Church came along and pushed the Christians to Sunday, just like they began worshiping the sun. And Catholic Church is responsible for our calendar. And a lot of Christians, that's why I say, I mean, it doesn't really matter if you're Protestant, you're pretty much performing Catholic ritual, Protestant or not.
All right. So that's why Zachary Hubbard, was I sharing that? That's why Zachary Hubbard basically has all of that. It's unbelievable. Yeah, symbols will be their downfall. So that's how we find them. That's how we know their mark is often on this, and it's pretty crazy, right? Anyway, let's look at what I believe is going to be coming. Border town sheriffs warn of cartel military grade weapons. So they have, like, on the border towns, they have 50 caliber rifles, belt-fed machine guns, improvised armored vehicles. So weapons far beyond what local police budget can match. Now, I foresee that there's probably going to be an invasion, possible invasion. That's one of the reasons why we have so much military down there, is because there is the potential for the cartels to, once everything really kicks off in America, and we have town after city under siege by these radical leftist terrorists, like what's going on right now in Portland. So you have radical leftist terrorists, right, that are causing problems there. And I guess now we have the military there, and they're hammering down on them. Now on the border towns, like we were talking about, we have we have the National Guard down there, but are they ramped up to the level that the cartels are? I don't think so. All right. So now we got the Marines in there. Did the Marines come in with their heavy armor yet? So they may have to. Now, if the cartels come across the border and we have to, like, push back, we're going into Mexico. I've already seen it happening. So if they try and try and take over border towns and stuff like that, when shit hits the fan, we will we will hammer down into Mexico, probably 20 plus miles into Mexico, right? We're not going to take all of Mexico, but we'll definitely go in and we'll annihilate the cartels, right? Now, the cartels have already sent a very great number of their people into the U.S. That's how they're making their money. That's how they can afford all those weapon systems, right? Because they're doing drugs and human trafficking in the United States, and they're directly involved in a lot of that. Of course, in a place like Portland, Chicago, where they're resisting, LA, San Francisco, all these places where they're resisting, and they have Democrats that are stepping up saying, oh, our city's fine, when they're having dozens of people killed every week in their cities, and the drug trafficking is out of control, human waste all in the streets. We have zombies walking in the streets. It's sad. It's very sad. But they continue that because they're all profiting from that. They don't care. They don't care about we the people. We the people have to stand up and push back. Now, another thing that President Trump is doing is he's saying that you will have to provide your last election results so that we can see pretty much how you cheated, right? And so they're resisting. They're resisting. And and I promise you, in a lot of places, they're going to basically destruct all the evidence. They're going to destroy the evidence, right? If they're not already. So in a place like Portland and Oregon, the Oregon governor, Oregon governor looks like a guy. What the heck? But probably doesn't like men too much, but that's why she dresses like one. I don't know, but whatever. She's saying that she, whatever, is saying that, we don't want federal troops in our city. We like it, a shithole. And that's the headquarters of Antifa in Portland. That's their headquarters. And so they're attacking ICE. And so I guess, I don't know what performer, Ice Cube or some performer had their bus there and they have ICE in their name. So these brilliant people that are, Antifa attacked that performer's bus and burnt it, right? Firebombed it. And it's toasted. It's done. So it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, what is going down in a lot of these cities. I predicted there's going to be 17 cities. Other people predicted 14 cities will go down completely. So, yeah, I think that, we'll see almost every city with conflict from the leftist guerrillas, the guerrilla force, right? And patriots will stand up and stop that shit out pretty hard. But there's going to be loss of life. There will be bullets that will fly. They will be flying everywhere. That is the number one reason. Of course, there's multiple reasons why we're going to see the military have over 800 admirals and generals. They're going to meet in Alexandria, Virginia, with the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. Interesting how they just changed that name. It's a very offensive term, which is fantastic because the old one was defensive. I'm not a defensive fighter, and you shouldn't have any kind of defensive thinking in your thought at all to be successful, right? So I talk about this in a lot of my courses, but anyway, and I taught this in the Navy SEALs when I started the first hand-to-hand course. All right, so you have to be offensive, and that's what we're going to see. Now, I believe we're going to see a lot of people fired at that meeting because they're anti-Trumpers, and they're going to side with the deep state. So this happened also in Hungary. So you had the Hungarian president, what's his name? Can't think of his name or off the top of my head. It's going to come to me pretty quick. But anyway, he basically did the same thing. And he called up, I believe, his generals and axed a bunch of them. So very, 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 very smart that President Trump is going to do that. And we'll see probably a lot of this stuff happen very quickly next week. I think next week is going to be a pretty substantial week. What's his name? Orban. Yeah, thank you. Victor Orban. I was waiting for somebody to like throw it in there. Thanks, guys. So Victor Orban pretty much did the same thing. He was under threat of having a coup. And I don't think we have a threat of a coup, but we don't want anybody. And I've told you guys, because everybody's like, oh, the military is so great. No, I know from experience that there's some baddies in our military, right? So personally, I'm going to be very, very happy if some of these bad leaders are chopped out of there, guys. We got too many of them in there anyway. There's way too many leaders at the top. We don't need that many. We got like 4 times more than we've had since in World War II, where we're at war. We're not at war now, and we're not going to be at war. So it's going to be very nice to see a lot of that fluff get taken out, which is basically a huge money suck. All right, so we're definitely cleaning house. We're cleaning house everywhere. Now that's another thing that we're probably going to see in California. All right, we're going to see a very nice cleaning of the house, and I hope. So if we don't see a cleaning of the house here in America, it's obviously going to be business as usual. And anyone that's in a Democrat state, if you continue to have Democrats in your state in any capacity, or Muslims, because you have a lot of places like in Michigan, there is no Republicans. There's no, and I don't know, maybe they're all Muslim Republicans. Maybe they're all Muslim Democrats. I think that's probably what they are. But if you're going to have just one-sided anything anywhere like we do in California, which Louis Herms says he's basically going to make everything transparent. Like Christopher Wray, he came in with Congress saying, because Congress represents the American people, we the people, and Congress is asking, were there any FBI agents in the crowd? And he's like, he just kept talking around it. He never would give a straight answer. And then the Department of Justice came out and said, yeah, maybe about 26. All right. So they're about more than 10 times off of what they said. So they just threw a number at us just to make us be quiet. Hundreds, they're up to no good. Because if people were starting to get out now, they were firing at people in the crowd that weren't doing anything. There's one guy almost had his whole lip taken off by a rubber bullet. They're firing into people's faces. There's multiple people had rubber bullets fired into their faces. Why? They were throwing flashbangs behind the crowd, not in the front to stop people. They were throwing them deep into the crowd. And then these FBI agents, from what we're hearing, started pushing people and said, get in the Capitol, get in. So again, we're going to find this stuff out now. It's coming out. We all knew this. We talked about this for years. I was there. I reported day of that there were lots of anomalies. There were people running around like they're trying to instigate stuff. I saw these guys dressed in camo. They're like on top of each other and they're running. It's like, fuck Antifa, trying to start shit. I was trying to film it live and it wouldn't go through. They were blocking all the signals, guys. They were controlling the narrative. Nancy Pelosi, all of those people need to go bye-bye, right? If they haven't already. So very organized. That's right, Lenny 777. They were very, very organized there. Now Louis Herms was there, and you remember the guy. So this is the kind of leader that Louis is. Louis was talking to me. He says, we need to get our own, comms and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? We're just going to an event. We're just like there hanging out. We're just normal citizens, supporting President Trump and what's obviously a stolen election, and we want them to do the right thing. And of course, they knew that we were there for that, and they wanted to like stop that. And then they ended up arresting and prosecuting like 1,200 people. So he was like, "Yeah, we need to have comms," and I was like, "Whoa, slow down, slow down." But I guess he did. He was smarter than me. I got to admit. I did a show with Ole Demigard the night before, and he said, "You're going to have a false flag tomorrow," and he was right. I was listening to Juan O'Savin, I guess, so that got me in trouble because Juan was like, everybody should show up and it's going to be good, and it wasn't, right? So I was just hokey dokey, it's going to be good. We're just going to support President Trump. There's going to be events there. There were events the day before. There's supposed to be they had that scaffolding. There's supposed to be an event there, and that got hijacked. And the deep state took it over and did evil shit there, right? The military, the bad guy military, was withholding the National Guard. So they were passing information. Hey, we need the National Guard now. We need military, and they sat on it. I think that was one of the Flynn brothers or something, or someone named Flynn that was in charge. At one time, I thought it was General Flynn. I was like, how the hell is he in the military? How in the hell is Michael Flynn in the Pentagon? But I guess it wasn't Michael Flynn. It was another Flynn. So anyway, I've dealt with one of the Flynn brothers, and he's not a good man. All right. I thought he was a military officer because I looked his name up, and it had him as a major. So because he was like came onto my X account and was effing with me, and I was like, I looked him up. I was like, he's a military officer. He's military. I'm going to give him a little bit of leeway, right? So I even said that. I was like, so you're in the military, and you have this opinion about this, and he let it go for like a day. He didn't come back and say, no, I was never in the military. He let it go for a day. And then he comes back and he says, you're not too smart, are you? And I was like, fuck you. And he says, I'm not even in the military. And I was like, I deleted him. What a jackass. Not a fan of the Flynns. Right. So anyway, some Flynn was in the military in the Pentagon, and he was withholding the order for the National Guard to go in and stop all the craziness, right? So anyway, who was that Flynn? Flynn at Pentagon. J6. Charles Flynn. In January 2021, it was revealed that Lieutenant General Charles Flynn, then the Army's Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations, Plans, and Training, was in the room for a critical Pentagon phone call during the Capitol attack. So, General Charles Flynn, let's look him up. You just have to do a little bit of investigation on the Flynns, and you're going to find out. You're going to find out. All right. Retired I think he was in, let's see, Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations, so 9/11, or so January 6th. Younger brother of Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, Donald Trump's first national security advisor, who got what? By the FBI? Remember, James Comey said we sent a couple agents over to like basically take down General Flynn. All right, and General Flynn was like, it's like, hey, yeah, let me tell you everything about what I'm doing. And he's a security. He's in security and intelligence in the military. And you guys like that? You guys are cool with him, right? I'm a military guy. And I've looked at what he's done, and I'm like, just in his career, he's fucked, right? So anyway, when Donald Trump was coming into office, Charles Flynn resigned. Charles Flynn resigned because I guess he was in Hawaii, head of the everything in Hawaii. I guess he hooked him up because he did a good job for the deep state. So I don't know what's going on with Flynn brothers, guys. I'm not a fan, right? I could go on and on about how corrupt I think they are and how they're evil, but that pisses a lot of people off there in the truth community. So I get ostracized by a lot of people, but I'm gonna say what I know. I'm not like a lot of other people out there that see stuff and don't talk about it, right? Or talk around it, or don't want to hear it, because that's why we're where we're at, right? So I want to have those discussions. I've had those discussions. And I've had those discussions with other people. Scott Bennett, who actually got Michael Flynn off from his court problem, right? Remember, they were trying to prosecute him, and basically it was Scott Bennett that told his lawyer what she needed to do to basically get him off. And she did it, and she got him off. And then President Trump gave him a pardon. And so Scott Bennett met Michael Flynn at an event, and Michael Flynn didn't even know anything about it. Didn't even know that it was because of Scott Bennett that he got off. And now Scott Bennett's passed away. All right. So it seems like a lot of people that come into contact are butt up against Michael Flynn and his crew seem to go away. All right. So anyway, I'm still here and I'm not suicidal. All right. Right. Anyway, lots of manipulations that are out there from different people. Who knows why President Trump, keeps some of these people around, or is Michael Flynn around? I don't even know, but seems to. We'll see. Anyway, there's a lot going on out there. I'm going to have another show in about an hour. Secret soldiers. So we'll do a show on that. There's an event coming up soon. This gentleman that's promoting that, and he's going to talk about his event that's coming in. It has a lot of super soldiers, the secret space program type stuff. I've been involved in that quite a bit. So I like to have these guys on, just so I, can help that side of disclosure happen, right? Because that's another thing that gets disclosed at some point. The secret space program stuff. Trump has started to push in that direction with Space Force, right? So, but is the secret space program coming into Space Force? Not now. Not yet. Now, President Trump also did a post on, and let me pull it up while I'm talking about it. He did a post where on his Truth Social, I believe it's AI. It sounds AI to me driven. His daughter-in-law, I think Laura Trump did something like she's okay. We've talked about it. The Medbeds. Everybody's going to get a Medbed card and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, that's interesting. So that's another thing that gets disclosed, right? So all these different things that are coming. There's more and more. So James Rink at 3. I'll be back here at 3. Now I saw a show just recently about Kamala. Kamala is a Hindu goddess in Mesopotamia that is referred to in the book of Revelation 14:7, known as the laughing goddess. Sounds interesting, right? So I guess Kamala Devi means goddess in Hindu. So Kamala Devi Harris was born, I guess, on the date that this goddess supposedly was born as well. So they call her the laughing goddess. Of course, Kamala, they call her cackling Kamala. And she was also known as the harlot of Babylon. All right. Which also, because all these people seem to have had some kind of relationship with cackling harlot Kamala. So goddess, I call her goddess Kamala, the cackling harlot. So a little fun there for you. All right. So the tie-ins, kind of like what we started out with, Charlie Kirk, Utah, and, the head of the Mormon church, and then the Mormon church being burned now the next day after he dies. And now they're investigating where there's a connection. Well, did the guy die naturally or somebody coming to kill him? What's going on? So crazy, crazy, crazy stuff, All right. So here it is. I'm going to share where President Trump AI is saying that there is now Medbed hospitals.
Trump has announced a historic new healthcare system, the launch of America's first Medbed hospitals and a national Medbed card for every citizen.
Every American will soon receive their own Medbed card. With it, you'll have guaranteed access to our new hospitals led by the top doctors in the nation, equipped with the most advanced technology in the world. These facilities are safe, modern, and designed to restore every citizen to full health and strength. This is the beginning of a new era in American healthcare.
In this first phase, only a limited number of Medbed cards will be released. Registration details will be announced very soon. Trump has announced
All right. So now, of course, you can get your Medbed technology, the patches, LifeWave patches now. So there is a lot of this technology that is coming out. Of course, President Trump, we've talked about this for a long time. A lot of people have contacted me and said, can you please get President Trump to get so-and-so on a Medbed? And I'm like, I do not have contact with President Trump. Right. So, but this could be, the start, just like he did the Space Force. Right. So he started Space Force. So he's touching into that area where we're possibly going to have these technologies come through. All right. And Lori said it's going to be by the end of the year. So we'll have everyone will have the med beds by the end of the year. All right. I don't know. So she knows. All right. Thanks, Lori. All right. All right, guys. Lots of love. Stay in the love vibration. And I will see you guys at 3 or when I see you. All right. Lots of love.